Okay, in this video we're going to explain how to work out the numbers of protons, neutrons, electrons for atoms, but also for ions, and then work out the charges and the formula of the ion alongside that. So what I've done to help with this, I've written down some information from the periodic table. I'm going to use magnesium as my first example, and you can see here that the magnesium relative atomic mass is 24 and the proton number, atomic number, is 12. So to do this now for the atom, on this side I'm going to write down the protons, and neutrons, electrons. This means that magnesium has 12 protons because the atomic number is the proton number. Electrons is always going to be the same because atoms have to be neutral, so number of positive protons equals number of negative electrons. To work out the number of neutrons, I do the mass number, take away the proton number, so it's 24, take away 12, which is also 12. The electron arrangement for 12 is 2 in the first, energy level 8, and then 2. Okay, so that's my first structure of the atom. We're then going to make this work for the ion. This is not stable. For this to become stable for magnesium, it would need to lose these 2 electrons. If it lost 2 electrons, that means it would have 10 electrons as an ion. The neutrons would still be 12 and the protons would still be 12. 8 electrons, how do you arrange those? You have 2 in the first and then 8 in the second. That's now a stable arrangement. Form of the ion, so we're talking here about magnesium, so it's Mg. This now has got 12 positive protons, 10 electrons. It's lost 2 negatives. Losing negatives means that you become positive, and because it's lost 2, it forms a 2+ ion. Let's do another one. We'll stick with the positive ions for the moment. Let's come down here to lithium. So lithium, here's the information from the periodic table. So it's 7 relative to mass and 3 is the atomic number. That means it will have 3 protons and therefore 3 electrons. The difference between these two, 7 take away 3, is 4 neutrons. And to arrange these, you have 2 in the first and 1 in the second energy level. This isn't stable. It needs to lose 1. So it loses one of these. Therefore, it's going to have 2 electrons as an ion. It will still have 3 protons and 4 neutrons. Its arrangement here will be 2. Because it's lost an electron, it's lost 1 electron, it will form a lithium positive ion. Okay. Aluminium, 27, 13. So it's going to have 13 protons and 13 electrons. The difference between those two is 14. That's the number of neutrons. To arrange 13 electrons, 2 in the first, 8 and 3. This is not stable. To become stable, it will lose those 3 electrons. That's going to give it 10 electrons by the time it does that, and that will be arranged to 8. That's now a stable structure. It will still have 13 protons and 14 neutrons. This is going to mean it's going to have a 3+ charge, so Al3+, losing 3 electrons forms a 3+ ion. Let's have a look in here at some of the negative ions and how they're going to work. So we'll jump here to fluorine. This is going to form a fluoride ion. I've put here the information again. So this means it's going to have 9 protons and therefore 9 electrons. 19 take away 9 is 10 neutrons. This will then, in terms of arrangement, it will have 2 in the first and then 7 to make 9 in total. This is not stable. How's it going to become stable? It needs to gain 1 electron. Gaining 1 electron means this will become 10. This will stay the same because protons and neutrons don't change during that process. This now will become to 8 electron arrangement. The fact it's gained a negative, so it's got 10 negative electrons against 9 positive protons, means this is going to form a F- negatively charged ion. Do the same here with a sulfide. Sulfide is 3216, therefore 16 protons, 16 electrons. Difference between those two is the number of neutrons, which is also 16. Arranging 16 is 2 in the first, then I've got 8, and then I've got 6. This isn't stable. This needs to become 8. To become 8, it means it needs to gain 2 electrons. Gaining 2 electrons means it will now have 18 electrons. These will stay the same, so 16 and 16. This will now be 2, 8, 8, because it's gained those 2 electrons. The difference between these two is going to mean that this has got more electrons. It's got 2 more electrons, so it's 2 minus charged ion.